Hi guys. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month to all of the girls and the gays that have battled some sort of mental illness, mental struggle, anything along that realm. I just want to say you have a friend in me. If you are not new here, then I'm sure you already know that my mental health has been a topic for years on this channel. I've always been very vulnerable and very transparent about it because I think as the strong, independent one of the family, I think that it's always a stereotype that the strong friend is always okay and that we do a really good job of making it look good, and we definitely do, but sometimes it gets overwhelming. And yes, you're reading that title correctly. Earlier this year, I found myself in a very dark place. And by dark place, I mean I had so many emotions that I was feeling, and I just felt like I had no one to turn to. And this is not a diss to any of my friends, my family, none of that, because I come from a very loving background, and as much as I went through, I'm able to also know that other people are going through shit too, and it's not anyone else's responsibility for my own mental health, my own sanity. It's not their problem. We are going through some of the craziest times right now, and I guarantee you almost everybody is going through something. So I don't want any of my close friends or my family to feel guilty, because this is not your battle. A lot of the emotions that I found myself feeling was a lot of just built up emotion from months in advance, maybe even like years in advance, that I fully did not work through. Because for one, when I moved here to Kansas City, I didn't really have a therapist. It's not didn't really, I didn't have a therapist. I did have a therapist before I moved here consistently. So in my mind, I thought I was healed. I thought, okay, you know what? I've had months of therapy now and I am okay. I don't need to continue on with therapy. I was wrong. During that point in time of earlier this year, when I was feeling all these emotions, I was experiencing me being a highly functioning depressed person. So throughout the days, it was okay. I would get up, I'd go to school, I'd go do what I needed to do, and everything was fine when I was in the real world. But once I got home and I was sitting with my own thoughts, that's when I really started to feel like I was starting to crumble. And there would be so many nights where I would like just find myself crying, like, and I just didn't know what like the problem was. And I don't even want to say it was a problem, because it wasn't a problem. I just couldn't figure out what the main root of it all was. I could not figure it out. And for the life of me, I was just like, damn, like, Aaliyah, like, what is it? What are you going through? Like, what is making you experience all of these emotions? And for quite some time, I found myself trying to seek out self-care advice from YouTube. And along my journey, I'm gonna say I feel like a lot of the self-care shit that's pushed on YouTube is bullshit. A lot of these self-care videos that we're seeing are people going out, spending their money, buying new stuff, drinking, using some sort of substance, doing all of these things to try to cope and cover up the fact that they are not okay. And I hate to break it to you, but that shit is not going to help you. It's a temporary fix, but it is not going to help you in the long run. And I know from my own experience, this is coming from someone who thought that going out and partying every weekend was going to make me feel whole again. When in reality, that's just another weekend that I spent getting drunk. Yes, I'm okay temporarily, but when it all boils down to it, let 48 hours go by and I'm sober at this point and nighttime hits. I'm still very much still sad and very overwhelmed with life. Nothing changed. And so I couldn't figure out what it was that was wrong with me, and it just started to get worse. And by worse, I mean eventually it got to the point where it was very hard for me to complete very small tasks, like getting up out of bed every morning, getting up on time. I would sleep in, like on Saturdays, I'd use my whole Saturdays to sleep in. Outside of me taking my dog out and letting her handle her business, I was in bed all the time. I was eating horribly. It was very hard for me to show up for myself. Some nights it would be so hard for me to even wash my face. And these are the things that a lot of people don't talk about. Once I started to realize that simple tasks like that became very hard for me, I knew that I needed some help. But I was very naive. I was like, no, like it's gonna get better. Like I know it's gonna get better. Like I'll take care of it tomorrow. Like it'll get better tomorrow. It'll get better tomorrow. Like I'm gonna sleep in today, but tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna wake up at 7 a.m. Tomorrow comes around, same shit, literally. And the longer I went without getting help, the worse it got for me. Eventually, it got to a point where I found myself crying over like the smallest things. And this is not to disregard my feelings, because crying is okay. But I think I just became very hypersensitive to the point where if I was crying about something that was a valid reason for me to cry, I not only was crying about that, I also was crying about other things that were going on in my life. And then everyone's kind of like, well, wow, like that's kind of like a minor thing. Like you're hysterically crying about something that's kind of minor. Like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And it just got worse and worse. And eventually that sadness and grief started to turn into anger. And by anger, I found myself lashing out on people that did not deserve it. And when I say I'm lashing out on people, I'm not saying I am punching walls, and no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I would get upset with something that someone did to me or someone said to me, and then I'm lashing out. I find myself in a screaming match, and it's like a bunch of rage that's like, it's passionate rage, but it's a bunch of rage and misplaced anger. Not only am I upset and I'm having a screaming match with them about something that they did, but I'm also taking on the anger and the sadness and the grief from other situations and making it a bigger situation than what it really was. And after having my third outburst like that, I was like, Aaliyah, you have to get help. Like, something is not right. You cannot treat people like that, because these are people that don't deserve this. They don't deserve it. Yeah, they might have did something to make you, have an outburst, but you're also putting anger from other people and situations onto this situation. And this person or these people don't deserve that misplaced anger. They don't deserve that. So once I was finally able to sit myself down and realize like something's not right here, and you might need to go sit back down on that couch. And that is not funny, but that is one of the conclusions that I came to. And eventually one night, I don't even like, I'm taking on all the emotions that I felt then, because it was really hard. I didn't really know what was wrong with me, but I just knew something was wrong. And I felt like my back was against the wall. I felt like it was just so much going on, and I just didn't know where to start. And I was just crying that whole day. Like, I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was crying for hours and hours and hours. And eventually, I did reach out to a mental hospital. I want to say that I do have experience with this mental hospital. I've never been, but I have called them in times of desperation when I felt like I just needed someone to talk. And it's never been this severe, but on the phone, I was crying hysterically. Like, I don't know why, but I just couldn't stop. And I was just venting to the lady on the phone, and she kept asking me, like, do you feel like you're gonna harm yourself? Is harm something that's coming across your mind? And I kept trying to reassure her, like, no, that's not even on my mind. I kept trying to tell her, like, although I'm going through a really hard time right now and I cannot control my emotions, I have never thought about self-harm. I know that I have a greater purpose than myself on this earth, and I know that I've not reached my full potential. I also know that I have a loving family, I have loving friends, I have a great dog. Oh, she's so loving. You guys know I love my dog. But I have so much to live for. So much. It's just really hard right now. And I'm trying to explain this to her. And somehow, some way, maybe like 30 minutes after I get off the phone with her, I am laying in the living room and I see 4 cops pull up outside. So I'm very nosy. So of course I'm like, well, dang, like I wonder, like, is something going on in my apartment? Like, what's going on? And so I'm looking out the window, like, I'm like, dang, it must be something really serious, because it's like 4 of them pulling up. And I see them trying to get into the building, so I'm like, dang, like, I wonder what's going on, but, you know, I'll figure it out later. Like, I'll talk to the neighborhood, you know, watch, because we got a few people who live in the complex, and, like, they stay on alert when it comes to the things that are going on in the complex. I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna just talk to them in the morning and see what's going on. Bitch, why do I hear heavy knocking on my door? And it's not funny, but I hear knocks on my door, and it's the police. The police are at my door. And it's funny now, but at the time I was like so shocked, because I was like, girl, why would you send the police to my house? The police literally were at my door. I opened the door. Mind you guys, I've been crying all day. I had on no lashes, and you guys can see how red I'm getting in this video, like as I'm tearing up. So just imagine what my face looked like after a full day of crying. I have on no lashes. My eyes are bloodshot. They're also very poofy, and it's not a good sight. Like, I looked like I was struggling. Like, it wasn't good. So I'm talking to the police outside of my door, and they're basically like, they're asking questions about my mental health and, you know, self-harm and all that stuff like that. And eventually they convinced me to voluntarily check myself into a psych. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really against it, but I went. And I feel like the time that I spent there is a whole nother story time in itself. But long story short, they did run a few tests. The first doctor that I seen, he stated that I do have a minor case of BPD. So they prescribed me with a medication that I will not disclose. But I took it for a few days. I did. I took the medication for a few days, and this might sound crazy, but I stopped taking it. I actually threw it away. Alongside the medication, he also did recommend me to a few therapists within my area. And after a few sessions with my therapist, we kind of were just able to realize that I don't need medication. I don't need to be on medications that suppress my emotions. No, I just need to learn how to thoroughly regulate my emotions. I need someone to talk to, because I am that strong friend. So it's not always ideal for me to reach out to my other friends that I know are clearly already going through shit, you know? Although I felt kind of blindsided, because I still can't believe the operator called the damn police to my house. I am extremely grateful, because I feel like if she wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't have ended up going to the psych or seeing someone who could possibly tell me what's wrong with me or try to help guide me. And I think as a Black person in general, I think it's really hard for us to go to therapy. I think that's a conversation for another day, but to keep it very brief, I think that we as a whole really don't take on therapy, because we are typically looked at as very strong, especially Black women. But I am here to say from my experience, it has helped me. And although I'm not fully where I want to be, just from this short amount of time of me consistently showing up to therapy, being vulnerable with my therapist, setting good habits for myself, it has put me in a completely different mindset. And I hate to say it, but my therapist was actually right. Like, we came to this conclusion that he wanted me to discipline myself for the next 75 days. And so we kind of came up with the idea of me participating in a 75-day hard. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but me consistently showing up to the gym every day, being cautious and mindful of the things that I'm putting into my body, thoroughly regulating my emotions by journaling them down instead of me suppressing them and letting them all come out at once. I feel like it has given me a completely different outlook in such a short amount of time. And I want to take you guys along on this journey with me, because there are some days where I wake up and it's hard, like not even just physically, but mentally it is hard sometimes, because I feel like when you're going through the healing process, every day is not a great day. Every day is just not like happy-go-lucky. Sorry guys, the angle has probably changed because I had to get up and go take a potty break. But back to what I was saying, this newfound love for therapy and just this journey in itself, I really want you guys to be a part of this journey for me, because I think it's an emotion-filled roller coaster. Literally, there are some days where I wake up and I am happy-go-lucky, and then there are other days where I wake up and I actually do not want to go to the gym. There are days where I actually struggle to finish a full gallon of water. There are quite a lot of struggles that I am facing with me on this path, and it gets lonely as well. I think for me, it's really unfortunate, but I feel like this season of my life, I really have to learn to just let people be. And I think that by me wanting to better myself and take some time to isolate myself, I think like this is a point in my life where I'm able to see who really wants more from me, opposed to the people that are just selfish and only really want me around for their own personal gain. Because I feel like someone that really truly loves you will understand the journey that you're going through and they will not take it personal. But sometimes there are other people that you might outgrow during a process like this, and it was something that I was dreading. But I think in order for you to go from good to great, or from great to excellent, you have to be willing to outgrow certain environments, certain people, places, and things in order for you to even make it to that next level. So it's hard. It definitely is, but I feel like there's nothing that I cannot tackle at all. So I really do want you guys to witness me go through something that is very pivotal in my life, and hopefully it can inspire someone to take matters into their own hands and not let life beat them down to the ground, because life is not easy. I get it 110%. I also want to say that I love each and every one of you, and I am so grateful to have people that are willing to sit and learn from my experiences and apply them to their own lives. And even if you don't apply it to your own lives, just being someone to just sit and listen, okay? Because that's sometimes a girl just needs somebody that'll just sit and listen to her yap. That's all I be needing sometimes. So I'm so grateful and so appreciative of all of you. And while I am here, I also wanted to apologize for just completely abandoning you guys. Not only you guys, but also my Patreon family. I have temporarily suspended my Patreon for all the members because I don't think it's fair to be charging you guys for content if I'm not putting anything on there. I want to thank all of you guys for listening, and I want you all to know that you're not alone. If you ever feel like life is really giving it to you, please reach out for help. I will make sure to link a few resources down below, as well as a few phone numbers, as well as hotlines that you can call if you ever feel like it's just becoming too much. So with all of that being said, I want you all to know that I love you so very much. And once again, happy Mental Health Awareness Month.